start. So today we'll start with the DevOps. Let's have 100 level of introduction of the DevOps. So what we'll learn today, we'll learn what is DevOps is, why companies use DevOps, what is CI/CD, real-world application flow, DevOps lifecycle, where Azure DevOps fits. So what is basically DevOps? So DevOps is development plus operations. So DevOps stands for, so DEV stands for development, Ops stands for operations. So development plus operations together form the DevOps. So if you go to any project life cycle, so it has the stages, and DevOps divide these stages into two steps or two groups. One group is the development stages, and another group is called operation stages, and these two together combined is called DevOps. Now, if you go to the traditional app development, so developer writes the code, then gives the code to operation teams. So the operation team is supposed to do, so they're supposed to perform various operations like testing, deployment. The operation team deploys it manually. If production issue occurs, so again that issue will be given to developer, developer will correct it, tester will test it, then operation team will manually going to deploy another implementation. Now what happens in a DevOps approach? So we had streamlined this process, plus we had automated it. So DevOps streamline this process so that building, testing, deployment, monitoring becomes smoother, as well as it automates this particular approach with that. So what happens in a DevOps in short? So when developer finish with its code, it will commit it. So as soon as it committed, it will automatically build. In DevOps, we can configure CI. So it will automatically build it. Then it will automatically test it. So if build failed, so developer need to look out in it. So what is wrong? Correct it. But if build successful, then and then it will be given to automation testing. So it will be automated testing. You can also do the manual testing also and automated deployment. So once testing is finished, so it will automatically deploy it. And deployment, we can also use the blue-green strategy that we had learned in Azure. Or we can also create more stages using CD, continuous deployment, development and deployment. The next step that we will have the monitoring of that. Now, problem versus benefit. Without DevOps, what will happen? So without DevOps, slow releases, the manual deployment errors, works on my machine problem. So we had discussed this in a blue-green strategy in Azure. So developer always says it works on my machine, so there is no problem with the code. I don't know what is happening in your machine, our deployment machine. So there will be always a communication gap, and there will be always a late bug discovery. So late bug discovery causes massive damage. where your application is live, it's recording the data, so live data, you're doing live stuff, transactions. And if bug discovered at late stage, it's quite challenging to roll back that particular, we can say build and then deploy the older one. Now with DevOps, you will get the faster releases. So releases will be fast because the process is automated. So very less manual interference. So if you design your CI/CD properly, so developer just need to commit the code, and if you implemented automation testing, so it will be automatically built, tested, and then deployed. So we are less manual interference, so faster releases, less manual work, so better quality. So definitely you will be able to deliver the better quality to the client, our customer, because so as the build is ready, so it can be deployed immediately. And between the pipeline, so it will also do the testing. It will first deploy it in a, we can say staging, or we can say UAT, and then it will put it into production. But definitely better quality, improved quality, because maximum bugs or problems, as well as this problem, work on my machine problem, will be automatically solved. Easier rollback, so if any bug discovered, so you can easily roll back it. Better collaboration. So multiple developers and teams can work together to add the bits and releases to your, we can say, project. So better collaboration, easier rollback, better quality, less manual work, faster releases of that. Now, this is the basic DevOps life cycle. So the first stage that we have is plan. Second stage that we have is develop. And third stage that will have the build. And the fourth stage that we can have the test. Fifth stage is release. And sixth stage is deployment. Seventh stage is operate. And eighth stage is monitor. Plan, develop, build, test, release, deploy, operate, monitor. So you can monitor the application at two stages. So at the stage test, that is step number 4, as well as at 7, when client operates. So easy life cycle, nothing fancy. The life cycle stage details a plan. So what we do in a plan stage, to create user stories and the task. So in the plan stage, we'll create the user stories and the task that we want to implement. So once your user stories are ready, your tasks are ready, then it will be assigned to a developer. So developer will write the code for that particular task as per the user stories. Once developer write the code, it will hit the commit. So as soon as it hit the commit, that next step that will happen is build. So it will build your, we can say, application. Then once built, it will test the application. So if you had implemented automated test, it will test the application. Release. Release will prepare the deployment package. Then deploy, so move to the server environment. Operate. So once it's available on the server, so end user can run the application, operate the application. So monitor, so track health and errors. So every, we can say, stage has some specific purpose. So easy, so it's going to be the difficult thing. वैसे रियल वर्ल्ड एप्लीकेशन में आप इसको देखोगे तो what happens, so at the first step developer will write the code, it will commit the code to the git, or any version control system that is connected with your CI/CD. So Git is most popular. So pipeline starts. So as soon as developer hit the commit, so whatever the CI pipeline that they had created, it will be started. It will restore the NuGet packages, build the application, run the unit test if you have the automation testing. Then it will create the build artifact. Now, what is the artifact that we'll see? So create build artifact. That is the next step that happens after unit test. And it will deploy to a development. So it will deploy to a development server. Or we can say in a staging environment. So staging environment is an environment similar to, we can say, production. And it will deploy to testing server. That is again just like your production. So staging environment is the environment that is created inside the company premises, similar to production environment. So once it's through, we can say testing, so it will be deployed to production. And once it deployed to the production, so the next step we can have the monitor log and error. So the stages that are written into white color forms your CI, continuous integration. And the stages that are written are in green color are your CD, that is continuous deployment, development or deployment of goods. This entire flow is called CI/CD pipeline. Now, if you explore the CI in more detail, so CI stands for continuous integration. What continuous integration does, so whenever a developer pushes code, the pipeline automatically runs. So what CI will do, so continuous integration, whenever a developer pushes code, the pipeline automatically runs. So in a CI, we create the pipeline. So how it works, so developer commit the code, developer B commit the code, so developer A and B commit the code. Code merges in a repository. So what pipeline does, it will call the restore. So all the packages will be restored. Then it will call the build. Then it will call the test, and then it will call the publish. So if build failed, the developer will fix the code immediately. If bugs are caught early, keeping code stable. So if you use the continuous integration, so your bug will be detected or caught in early stage before pushing the entire code to the production. And it will be more easy for a development to fix it immediately. Now, what are the CI advantage? So continuous integration. So bug found early. So automated tests catch the issues before they reach production. Less integration issues. So frequent merges prevent large complex conflicts. So CI will solve the integration issue. So when many merges happen together in a large and complex application, there will be many conflicts. And these conflicts can be controlled or minimized using CI, continuous integration. Stable code base. So continuous validation ensures code always works. So in every stage, so we are validating it in every stage of the pipeline. So it will ensure that your code will always work. So in short, if developer commits add A and B, so pipeline runs, restore, build, test, and publish. Now, the second part of this CI/CD is CD. CD is called continuous delivery or deployment. So CD stands for continuous delivery and deployment. So CD continuous delivery deployment. So without CD, what will happen? So you need to copy all the files manually. You need to open the IIS and publish entire application manually. Sometimes you might need to restart the server. That is very challenging. काफी challenging है. To copy files manually, open IIS, publish manually, restart server. So with CD, to build success, deploy to development, deploy to testing, to deploy to production. The build process is already cleared, so there will not be any kind of issue with the build process. The runtime build may error. It's deployed at development as well as testing. So deployment process will be clear, automatically clear. So in testing stage, we will have the automation testing and it will do the testing of your application thoroughly. So maximum possibility that all the bugs will be discovered before moving your code to production. So before moving your code to production. So CI versus CD. So CI. So what is the purpose of the CI? Integrate code. What is the purpose of CD? Deploy the code. Now, what will be our focus in the CI? So build plus test. In the CI, our entire focus will be on build plus test. Now, CD will entirely focus on the release per deploy. So manage the releases and deploy the app. Now, this becomes very important if you have a microservices-based application. In microservices-based application, so integrating and deploying the application manually is very challenging. There will be hundreds of services, and different developers with different skill set can build those services and commit it inside your application. The benefit finds issues early. That's the benefit of CI. CD delivers faster. So CI is owned by developer focus. So it's the responsibility of the development team. Whereas the CD is the responsibility of the operations team, ops team, or delivery team of both sometimes. CI ensures the code quality through automated build and test. And CD automate the release and the deployment process. So both together works integrated to form your CIC. Continuous integration and continuous delivery on the deployment. So what are the tool set for Azure DevOps lifecycle? So Azure DevOps provides complete toolset for DevOps lifecycle like Repos, the Git repository, moves, task and user stories, pipelines, CI/CD automation. So DevOps provides you this complete tool set. So repos, so there we can use the Git repository or any other version control system if you want to use. I mean, so there are many, बहुत सारे. So boards enable you to manage the user stories and the tasks with them. And pipelines will help you to create CI and CD pipelines of that. Artifacts. So artifacts will help you to install, download and install the packages from various, we can say, repositories and various package managers. Test plans. So this will help you to implement the automation testing. So you can automate the unit testing as well as other type of testing, integration testing. And Wiki is the tool set of the DevOps, which will help you to generate the documentation. So it will just like you people, so sitting with the pen and paper and recording the things. At the end, it will create the documentation. Yeah. Now I will have a short introduction of all these we can see concepts today itself. So real company scenarios. So 10 developers working on issue total. So one team is working on student module, another is working on the payment module, another working on course module, another working on reporting and dev. So without DevOps, total happens the developer sends the zip files. Admin copies the files manually. Deployment errors occur. So the delivery team need to extract it. So admins need to extract them and then deploy it manually. And there might be a possibility that we'll get many errors or challenges of that. And there will be always one problem. So it's working on my machine. So it's very tedious and time consuming process. If you are working with a microservices architecture where we have the hundreds of services and those services are deployed together or changes from one service need to be reflected inside the application immediately. So day after developer pushes a code, pipeline runs automatically. So what are the pipeline that you had configured using these tools and the steps of them? So the steps, so it will run automatically. So test will execute it and deployed automatically. If any test fails, it will roll back and it will notify to the team that these are the problems, please fix it. If nothing found, it will deploy it automatically. In the deployment also, it has three steps. Deploy to developer, deploy to tester, deploy to task. So in short, अगर हम summary देखेंगे तो क्या है? So DevOps is a bridges the gap between development and the operation team. So DevOps will reduce, or we can say try to minimize the gap between the development and the operation teams. Yeah, automate the building and testing on every code commit, where CD automate the deployment from dev to production. The Azure DevOps provides the repos, boards, pipelines, artifact, test plans, and wiki. Whereas, so a real impact, the faster releases, fewer errors, better collaboration. There are the three major, we can say, advantages or impact that we get. The faster releases, fewer errors, and early detection of the bugs, better collaboration. So you can collaborate between the development and the operation team easily. Now let's explore a few more details, which और details explore करने की कोशिश करते हैं इसमें. So Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is a complete platform for building modern development lifecycle. ये तो मैंने आपको बता दिया. Azure DevOps is integrated suite of services from Microsoft that support entire software development lifecycle. So Azure DevOps is a service. It's a suite of integrated, we can say, services from Microsoft. To implement your DevOps, CI/CD. So it provides you the complete set of tools and services for planning, coding, building, testing, and deploying, all under one Azure. So Azure DevOps is one of the products, just like your other products like AppLogic or we can say AKS, Azure Container Services, or Kubernetes Services. Sorry. So it's again one, we can say, service, but it is integrated with a suite of multiple services together to manage the software development lifecycle. So you get all these, we can say, DevOps features or DevOps characteristics, DevOps behavior, DevOps stages, so DevOps artifacts, so everything together under one roof. So plan, code, build, test, and deploy. So used by Fortune 500 enterprises and small teams like to end-to-end DevOps automation with compliance built in. Okay. So it's again a popular product and many companies are using this. So Azure DevOps. So we are from Azure background, so we'll use the Azure DevOps to implement CI/CD. Now, what are the services in Azure DevOps? So in Azure DevOps, we have the 5 core services. So Azure DevOps provides you the platform tools. It's one kind of service using which we can do the CI/CD. So we can implement the DevOps. Now, the 5 core services that we have in DevOps are the boards. So boards are basically help you to work and work tracking and planning. So like creating the user stories, creating the tasks, subtasks. Second services, we can say a repo. With the key press over here. Sorry. So boards will help you to track the work or do the planning. Repos will help you to control the version. Here you can use any version control system. So Git is available by default. So without Git, we have the buckets, we can say TFS, we can use all the services also. Pipelines, CI/CD, automation. These are the services. So when we actually go to the implementation, so you will get this service. So both report, pipelines, and test plans. So pipelines will actual implementation of your CI and CD. Then we have the test plans, so manual and automated tests that you can do here. Artifacts, so package management. So artifact is a service which will help you to download and install the packages as per your application. And test plan is we can say service which will help you to configure the testing. So it provides you both the options. You can automate the testing as well as you can do the manual, or you can do the hybrid. So manual plus automate. So together, these 5 services will provide you end-to-end traceability from requirement to production. So the first service that we have in Azure DevOps is Azure Boards. So what for we use Azure Boards? So we use the Azure Boards for plan, track, and discuss work across your teams. So Azure Boards will help you to plan, track, and discuss work across your teams. So work items. So Epic's features user story, task, and bugs with full hierarchy. So what are actual work items there? So Epic's now you should have some small idea about this, huh? So Agile and Scrum and Kanban and other concepts. So work items. So what are the work items provided by the Azure board? So it will help you to create or manage the epics. It will help you to create the features, manage the features. It will help you to manage the stories, tasks, and the bugs. It has a full hierarchy, arranged in hierarchical format, so that you will be able to identify which bugs will belong to which task or which task is going to belong to which user story or epic. Now it also provides you the second, we can say, utility called Kanban boards. So visual task boards with drag and drop feature. So you can view your entire, we can say, task ecosystem overview, sorry, task ecosystem or task management using this particular board. It has drag and drop support. So white limits, stream length, क्या है हम देखेंगे इसको. Now, a sprint you might heard, so it provides you a sprint planning option in Azure boards where you can create the backlog. You can have the sprint capacity, burn down charts. Now, the Azure boards, we have one more board called queries and the dashboards. So here we can create a custom queries and configurable dashboard for visibility. So you can create a separate dashboard as per your requirement, and you can configure it as per your requirement. You can also have the option to create the custom queries throughout your team. Integration. So links, commits, repos, pipelines, and it runs directly to work items. So all are connected, all are integrated. So your CI/CD will be integrated with both. Now the second thing that we have is Azure Repos or repositories, we can say. The cloud hosted Git repositories for source code management. Just like your, we can say GitHub. So GitHub is also a cloud hosted version of your Git, wherefrom we can manage. It's a cloud service, wherefrom you can manage the source code management. So we have it is built in Azure Repos. We don't need GitHub. We need a Git. So Git is a version control system, a version management system. And GitHub is a cloud-based service which will help you to manage the repository that is connected with the Git. So similar service we have in Azure called Azure Repos. Now, what are the key features here? So unlimited private Git repos, so you can create any number of private Git repos. Branch policy and protection rules, you can define the branch policy and the protection rules as per your requirement in the repos. So which branch can be accessed by which one? What are the merging policies? Or who do not have access to that particular branch, code branch of that? Required reviewer and build validation. So you can review and do the build validation using Azure Repos. Collaboration, support search, diffing algorithm is available here. So blame and history. So you can collaborate the repos with code search tool or diffing tool a blame tool or a history tool to pull the request workflow to discussion. So what is the discussion happening? So as per that, you can do the workflow pulling. So Azure Repos can be integrated with Azure AD, so Active Directory Services. Right now we call it as in Microsoft Inter IT. So that's the new name of your Active Directory Services. So you can integrate with the Microsoft Inter ID and pipelines with that. So it also supports TFS, Team Foundation Version Control, TFVC for centralized workflow. Fine. So next that we have is Azure Pipeline. So what is the role of Azure Pipeline CI/CD automation for any language, any platform? So this pipeline is not limited only with C# and .NET. So you can use any language or any platform with that. So how this pipeline works, so you put the code, build and test, then it will go for staging, then go for approval, and then it will go to production. थोड़ा सा change हो गया, step, the opposite, little bit. So it added the staging and approval. So there also we have the staging by deploying your application in testing server or development server. Here we have one more additional step, approval before production. Now, what are the feature of the pipeline? So you don't need to configure a pipelines using GUIs or some utilities. All the pipelines can be configured using YML. So YML is aren't markup language. So we had heard about this. We had used this to create the Docker files, and in Kubernetes, we had used this for creating the deployment files and the service files, as well as prod files. So it's about YML-based pipelines. So every time you don't need to go to a tool and then create the pipeline and do the stuff. So if you have the already pre-configured YML file, so you can execute that YML file to create the pipeline. So YML-based pipeline provides you opportunity to create your pipeline as so write the pipeline code in your YML file, and then we can say run this, and it will create the pipeline automatically. So pipeline as a code stored in your repo with full version history. Now multi-stage. So build, test, deploy in a single pipeline with stage gates. So you do not need to create a separate pipelines for testing, building, and deployment. So same thing can happen in one pipeline. So it is multi-stage pipeline feature available, and it has a stage gates option so that so one gate will be opened only when the previous stage is successful. Otherwise, that gate will be locked or that gate will be closed. So multi-platform. So Microsoft hosted or self-hosted agents, containers, VMs, Kubernetes. So you can host these pipelines in a variety of options. You can host it in the Microsoft hosted, we can say VMs or Kubernetes or containers, or it can be self-hosted. So you can host it into your private server, local server. Integration. So native support for GitHub, Key Wallet, Docker, Terraform, and more. So it is fully available to integrate with variety of, we can say, technologies. So you can integrate with the GitHub. So if you want to pull some repositories from the GitHub, so push some repositories from your Azure to a GitHub. So Key Wallet, So you can read the secrets and connection string from Key Wallet to Docker. So if you want to run it inside a container, so we can use the Docker, Terraform, and more. So the next tool set or a part in Azure DevOps service is Azure Test Plans. Okay. So this is comprehensive testing management for quality assurance. So manual testing, so create and execute manual test cases with reach step recording and screenshots. So it provides you manual testing also. So with we can say recording of your steps and the screenshots of them. We can create manual test cases with that. So automated integration, so link automated test cases and run them as a part of pipeline stage. So if you have created the unit test cases inside your application, so you can link them to the test cases from your other, we can say DevOps pipeline, and you can execute them as a part of your pipeline stage. Okay. So exploratory testing is also available. So session-based testing is also available with the browser extension or ad hoc bug discovery. So you can run multiple sessions together to find out some additional bugs that generally occurs when multiple people access your application together simultaneously. Traceability, the full traceability from requirements to test case to bug report. You can test entire flow from requirement to bug. So these are some things that we have in Azure test plans. And the last thing that I think we have the Azure artifact. Now, Azure artifact is a universal package management for your development workflow. So we can say this is a universal package management mechanism or utility for your workflow. Because if you are working on application with different technologies, for example, React, .NET, Python, Java together, and that is possible with the help of microservices architecture. So you need a different package manager to pull the packages required by your application. So that can be configured using other artifacts. And Azure artifacts support NuGet package manager for .NET, the NPM package manager for JavaScript packages, Maven for Java packages, so pip for Python packages. So Cargo for Rush packages, any file type for universal packages. So NuGet for .NET packages, NPM for JavaScript packages, Maven for Java packages, Python for pip packages, Cargo for Rush packages, universal for any file type. So how it all fits together? तो ये सारी चीजें एक साथ कैसे फिट होगी? तो प्लान बोर्ड पे यूज करके हम प्लानिंग करेंगे पूरा. कोड से रिकॉर्डरीज वर्कआउट होगी. बिल्ड पाइपलाइन में बिल्ड करेंगे. टेस्ट सारे क्रिएट करेंगे हम टेस्ट प्लान के अंदर. डिप्लॉयमेंट पाइपलाइंस के अंदर होगा और पैकेज आर्टिफैक्ट के अंदर. And Azure DevOps supports end-to-end traceability. Every work item links to code commits, pull requests, build and deployments. From a single requirement, you can trace the full path to the production. So everything is available in, we can say, one room. And it provides you the continuous, we can say, feedback loop drives improvement to that. Fine. Now, what are the best practices for CI/CD? So pipeline is the code. It's always recommended to use YML to configure, create pipelines. That's a best practice, but that's not the only option. So we have other options also to create the pipelines. To define pipelines in a YML file stored in your repo for full version control and auditability. So YML files हम create करेंगे pipelines के लिए. That's the best practice, not compulsory. And we store all these YML files in your repo for full version control and because every version may have a different YML file. So build once and deploy many. So you create your artifact once. So in such that they can be created once, then prompt through staging to production environment. Sorry, promote through staging environment. So build once, deploy many. So you need to follow this particular practice. So every time something happens, you are building again and then deploying again. So building will be once and deploy will be many times. So approval gates, so add human approvals and automated checks before deploying a critical environment. So this is again the best practice. You can 100% automate entire CI/CD, no human intervention required for small applications. Large applications also you can do, but it's not recommended. So best practice is, so we'll add the approval gates in various stages of your CI/CD. Add human approvals and automated checks before deploying a critical environment. So if your application is quite complex and environment is critical, so it's better to have the approval gates at various stages of your CI/CD. Secure secrets, those store credentials in Azure Key Wallet or variable groups, never in a source code. That is the best practice. That is the common practice. It's required for every application. Automate testing. So run the unit integration and security testing automatically on every change. So that is again the best practice, recommended practice. So you need to automate the testing. So monitor everything. So integrate everything with Azure Monitor and application insights for the production observability. That is again a good practice to enable the monitoring and application insights inside your project so that you can monitor what is happening in the production. Right. Now, these are the some things that we need to follow as the best practices in the CI/CD. Security and compliance. So GitHub Advanced Security for Azure DevOps. तो GitHub का जो advanced security mechanism है, तो इसमें हम नहीं जाएंगे डिटेल में. Just I'm giving you the overview. So secret scanning to detect and block plain text secrets in the your repositories with the push production. तो प्रोडक्शन में जब पुश होगा आपका कोड तो ऑटोमेटिकली डिटेक्ट करेगा कि आपकी जो सीक्रेट्स है, कनेक्शन स्ट्रिंग है या फिर एन्क्रिप्शन कीज है या फिर कोई और कीज है, तो प्लेन टेक्स्ट फाइल में नहीं है, मतलब आपके कोड के अंदर रिपोजिटरीज में नहीं है. So it will verify it before pushing into the next stage. Code scanning finds security vulnerabilities using code QL analysis integrated with your pipeline. Azure DevOps has a code QL integrated built-in, so that will help you to find out the vulnerabilities inside your code if it is exposing something that is not expected to expose to the outside world, or there are some loopholes that can be used to bypass something inside your code. So that can be identified using the code scanning. So dependency scanning, so alert on insecure dependencies with remediation guidance and the dependable updates. It's okay, Visual Studio may be available. So the latest version of Visual Studio is also scanning dependencies and generating a warning or alert that this package is outdated, vulnerable. So it has some security issues. Please update it. So that is also available here in security and compliance. So it implements this SOC 2 FedRAMP, HIPAA, ISO 27001, CMMC. So all security compliances it will have built in Azure DevOps. The enterprise gets security with conditional access policies, managed identities, and intra-ID integration. You'll get all this in one roof called Azure DevOps. तो 2025-2026 में क्या नया ऐड किया इसमें, तो AI ड्रिवन पाइपलाइन ऑप्टिमाइजेशन, तो AI आ गए यहाँ पर, तो इंटेलिजेंट सजेशंस फॉर पाइपलाइन कॉन्फ़िगरेशन एंड परफॉर्मेंस इंप्रूवमेंट्स, रिमोट MCP सर्वर, तो प्रीव्यू में अवेलेबल है अभी फिलहाल, तो Azure DevOps MCP server public preview enabling agentic AI workflows with DevOps data. So if you had attended the free session on .NET to AI, so I had explained you the MCP server on it. So it's available on YouTube, so you can go through it. So Azure DevOps MCP server. So MCP will help you to connect your AI to extend the world. So it's a common protocol, you can say, just like your HTTP. And MCP and your RAG form the basis for agentic AI. Now, one-click security scanning. So you'll get that in a 2015-26 latest feature. So code key will default setup for instant code vulnerability detection across your organization. So in newer version of Azure DevOps, you don't need to install, configure the code queue. It's by default available. There's an instance is available by default. So it will be done automatically. So you can find out the vulnerabilities and we can say detection across your organization. YDC Federation. So auth, so it uses auth mechanism, authorization mechanism, and it uses YDC, we can say federation mechanism or protocol, just like your OAuth. So modernized authentication for GitHub Actions and Azure DevOps with OIC or DC support with that. This OAuth will help you to implement the authorization inside your web application using Facebook, or we can say Insta or Google, Microsoft. So this OIDC federation is again, and we can say authentication mechanism. It will help you to do the modernization. The modernized authentication mechanism which will help you to authenticate GitHub Actions and the Azure DevOps with OIDC support. So condensed we can say Kanban view is also available. You can compress your Kanban view. So new board layouts for faster scanning and better sprint visibility. So one tool is retired in 2025-26. That's the PAT. So PAT is called Personal Access Tokens. This was, we can say, secure authentication mechanism used before. Now we are using YDC. So PAT is retired. So PAT stands for Personal Access Tokens. And moving towards more secure authentication, Global Personal Access Token being retired. The PAT is retired here in 2025-26. Now, 26 roadmap highlight. So given remote ADO MCP server, condensed Kanban view, you don't need to worry about this. You don't need to go this much advanced level. So wiki, we can say Monaco editor. Q2 code QL default setup. So by default available. Status check policies for advanced security. Now in the next quarters, you might get link boards to advanced security alerts. Fact pipeline agents in the box task update. Now in the future, we'll get we can say depend about security updates. Manage identities for service and connections. Fine. So many things are going to happen. So it's not the thing that it's done. So it will be continuously upgraded, and in future versions, you'll get the agents, and those agents will help you to deploy the we can say workflows or agentic workflows, and agents will do your work. So they will take your work and they will do it for you. So integration ecosystem, if you look at here, so we have the source control, it supports the GitHub, Bitbucket, Subversion, PFS, all the supports are also available. So if you want to execute your pipelines in the containers, it supports Docker, Kubernetes, ACR, AKS, everything. So this Azure DevOps can be integrated with cloud providers like Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. Collaboration, so you can collaborate with the Microsoft Teams, Slack, Jira. So yeah, so Terraform, Bicep, ARM template. This is very advanced concept in Azure. Security. So SonarQube Key Wallet Defender is available as security monitoring. The Azure Monitor App Insights in Grafana. You can use that for monitoring. Package registries, so NPM, NuGet, Maven, Central, IP. So it has very large ecosystem that you can integrate to achieve CI/CD, continuous integration and deployment or delivery. So besides this, you support more than 600 plus extensions available in Visual Studio Marketplace. So many extensions are those you can use for integration. Now, key benefits and impact: 10x faster deployment frequency, 60% reduction in change failures. Now, days to deploy landing zone. Fine. तो आपका डिप्लॉयमेंट काफी फास्ट हो गया, 10x मोर फास्टर, एंड चेंज की वजह से फेल्यूर होने के चांसेस रिड्यूस हो जाता है 60%. दैट इज ह्यूज. और 10x फास्टर मतलब दैट इज अगेन ह्यूज. नाउ 4 to 7 days to deploy landing zone. तो क्विक कम टाइम में हो जाएगा. The unified platform eliminates tool travel and reduces integration complexity. You don't need to integrate and use different kinds of tools for them. So full audit and trial from requirement through deployment for compliance. पूरा audit कर सकते हैं. Requirements से लेकर deployment से लेकर compliance तक. Scales from small teams to enterprise wide with thousands of developers. So flexible deployment. So cloud hosted service or on-premise server. So you can use both the options. You can do it in on-premise as well as you can run it in a cloud. Okay. Now, so you can find more about this Azure DevOps in dev.azure.com or learn.microsoft.com. You can explore that there. Now, so आज इसको यही छोड़ रहे हैं, फिर इसको वापस से कंटिन्यू करेंगे. Now, before going to next session, so I want to ask you a small question. How many of you know the Git and GitHub and familiar with the commands of the Git and access from the GitHub? So if you know, just type S in the chat box. If you don't know, so just type no so that I can decide what to cover in the next. So first cover the GitHub, or we can directly go for Azure DevOps.